Live? What is up, guys? Andrew here, and welcome to Comicbooker. All things comics from a creator. Alright, so I'm feeling a bit under the weather, and I am in a deadline crunch, and the stakes are so high. But, you know, I haven't live streamed in 2 weeks or put up anything new in 2 weeks, so here is a session. We're just gonna jump into what I'm in the middle of. So just to show you guys, I have all these layouts I've done on my notebook during the train for a secret comic story that I can't super talk about or say specifically what it is, but if you look closely you might get a feeling as to what it's about. But yeah, so I'm gonna work on this today. What I've done is I actually also have the script. Whoops, let me get from my desk. I have the script here, so that's sort of what I'm looking at also as part of it. And I am working on it here as a layout, which I will then ultimately translate into a final page that will look maybe something like this, right? So yeah, that's sort of what's on the docket. I need to get this really moving today. Layouting is not the most glamorous stage because it is not pretty. It doesn't look great to look at. So I don't know how interesting it will be to watch on live stream. But it's a really important part because all the major building blocks of the page are gonna be there. You know, if you can see from this rough drawing, it'll have, you know, you get a general sense of the proportions of panels to each other. And I also like to have a little bit of the proportions of the characters, you know, get a little bit of anatomy in there. So anyway, we'll go jump into the session as I draw, and if you have any questions, I'm gonna check the chat periodically. And yeah, if you're working on your own projects, feel free to pop in and draw along with me, because, you know, this is Draw With Me. Yeah. Any case, wait, let me look at the chat really quick. Ozan B. Laloglu, hello. And Brian is here. Welcome to the stream, Brian. And Wowie Gerarcas, hello. Welcome and thank you guys for being here on a Sunday morning. It is a rainy day in New York City, and I am trying to get a bunch of work done before the week starts, and I have to go to work tomorrow. Wowie says, proud to be Filipino. Oh, welcome, kababayan. Nice to see you here. And Brian says he's a comics manga artist. Great. And Goncalo's here. Welcome back, Goncalo. Brian, I'd love to see your stuff. Feel free to link it in the chat or share it with us when you're ready. Thomas Mitchell is here. Welcome. Thank you for being here, guys. We're just gonna have a chill studio session together, and yeah, I hope you are feeling inspired. And if not, I hope just the company of each other helps kickstart you on your own projects. You know what I mean? Let's see if I can get this. I just want to make sure the chat window is in the same window as OBS. I'm using OBS to stream, by the way. I know a bunch of people have asked me about that, so if you've ever wanted to do your own live streams, it's not super hard. OBS is free. And this is actually a bit of an experiment because technically I'm not supposed to talk about this project right now. But I do think since we are in the layout stage, it's vague enough that I don't think it'll spoil anything for anyone. You know, I'm not gonna say what exactly this is, but you know, it's a it's a DC Comics project, so who knows? And this figure I'm drawing right now is based off of this single sketch here. I don't know if you could see. But yeah, I had a rough sort of pencil sketch that I did while looking at the script. And, you know, I'm upgrading it to a proper layout now. And really, I think that's the healthiest way, one of the healthiest ways to think about drawing. I know there are people who Kim Jung-gi it, and, you know, the marks they make on paper end up becoming like the final marks that you see at the end. And that's just such a high pressure. It's such a high pressure way to draw, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, it's easier to like get ugly, you know what I mean? It helps with the fear to draw from a stick figure and then work your way up to a more refined, polished drawing. And as much as the internet likes to spoil us with, you know, videos and images of amazing artists doing awesome things all the time, you know, I mean, it's better to have a little bit of a more realistic view of how the art making process goes. And it's really like going through a ton of rough drawings and rough ideas until you get to something with a level of polish and detail you can be proud of. There we go. The writer of Karma says, yeah, anything's better than a blank page. Agreed. At least, you know, when you've thrown something down, it's something you can work with. And you know, you can change it, or you can make it bigger or smaller or modify it. But the blank page alone is just horrifying. It's nothing to work. It's all your imagination. Gotta have a rock to carve to make a statue, says Writer of Karma. And that's true. It's your slate of marble, you know. So yeah, I'm drawing this, and the proportions and the pose might be tweaked along the way. You can see I'm kind of like erasing in here or there and shifting things as I go. But I can make these decisions because I can see something in front of me that gives me hues and hints as to what I don't want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm really excited for the story. It's not actually as bombastic as the last 3 comics I did for DC. You know, I don't think there are a lot of action scenes or big explosive moments with like a lot of characters. However, it is a really quiet little acting type story, and it allows me to go in and do a bit more observational drawing, you know what I mean? Like showing more of the subtleties of how people act. That's a lot of fun. I'm just sketching out like a quick perspective here so I can get a sense of the ground plane, because I need some stuff to happen in the background. I think something like that. There are people like Clayton Henry, really good artist. I feel like he tends to throw down like a perspective grid into almost every panel, and that's really healthy. Like Daniel Warren Johnson does that too. I have a tendency to eyeball things for the sake of expediency and just to sort of get the vibe first. It's not always the healthiest way to look at things, but because, you know, obviously when you draw a perspective grid and you have your like, okay, well, there's the vanishing point, and then here's the vanishing point for this, and then we're doing like a isometric thing where, you know, the vertical lines just go straight down, and once if you have that all worked out, it's just so much more stable a drawing, you know what I mean? But I'm lazy. Or at least for this stage, I'm not gonna do it. I think I can do it like when we get into pencils. But right now I'm like moving stuff around. I feel like, you know, I don't want to get locked into the grid yet. I need this young person freaking out in the background, and I think it'll be super funny if it's like Gosh G. Willikers type pose with like the crooked feet, the crooked stance. That'd be cool. The Hollows Inc. is asking, I know you get asked this a lot, but where did you get the comics template? Is there a download? Yeah, so Hollows, check out my last live stream. Just click on it on a different tab. I answered in the comments with a link to Aditya Bidikar's The Comic Creator's Technical Handbook. So yeah, there should be a link down there in one of the comments with it's a Substack, so the link is not exactly like super easy to find, but like, you know, you can download that. I'm working on my own video with my own template, hopefully, because, you know, obviously I don't want to use Aditya's. Aditya's amazing, by the way. You should know that person. Letterer, a writer, artist, who's done a lot of professional work, and they're a very good writer. They're a very good writer about being in the comic industry. So if you know, you should also check out their Substack, because I feel like they have a lot of substantial things to share, especially if you guys are like process geeks. You know what I mean? Because Aditya talks a lot about how he's managing his career, his thoughts on things going on, and I think currently he has like a rundown of his attempt to read the Krakoan era of X-Men comics, which, you know, I know a bunch of you here X-Men fans. I'm a huge X-Men fan. I think I just have like a lot of fan art of X-Men stuff on my page. I'm doing a Magneto right now, sorry. Sidetrack, just to get like a little, I'll show you guys. Here is Magneto I'm working on, just as a bit of fan art. And if I can show, give me a second. Maybe I can show here we go. Video, there we are. This used to be this version of Magneto, the Krakoan version, and I'm reskinning the drawing to be the classic Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, classic Magneto, the red costume, because it's fun. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, so X-Men. Yeah, Aditya's writing about going into the X-Men, reading the Krakoan era, and it's a lot of fun. Because, you know, I have been reading it religiously, and it's interesting to see the perspective of someone who is kind of dipping in from the outside. Goncalo says, I'm going to NYC next month. I want to get a bunch of Krakoa era comics. That's awesome. Goncalo, if you're in town next month, message me on Instagram. You know, maybe we can have a coffee or something. I can bring you to the Art Students League and show you like my favorite place in the world. Or maybe we could do a comic shop trip together. That's cool. Anyway, just message me. Rider of Karma says, figuring out where the text bubbles go would drive me nuts. Can I just subtitle a graphic novel at the bottom of the page like a movie? I mean, that's potentially a really cool way to do it. I wonder if it's been done. But even if it has, if it works for you and it reads well to you, go for it. I mean, for me, I like lettering, and I like the act of... So this is not gonna be my letters. I'm actually working on a letterer for this comic, but because it's a little bit of a dialogue heavy story, I'm throwing in my own letters to give me general placeholders for where the letters will go, you know. So I'm literally just, it's gonna be lettered twice. This is not the final letters you'll see. I'm actually gonna delete this when I send in the pages, these words. But they give me a sense of where things will go, so it's kind of designed into the page. And if you look at my past, where is that? Do I have it here? Oh my gosh, I think it's gone. Isn't gone. There it is. If you look at my past, like, DC stuff, this is, like, my first page I did for DC, for the Shazam comic, Shazam Really Matters. And I just went all out on lettering a cool title font, and then another one here, which sort of, like, is supposed to make you feel like Calvin and Hobbes and stuff. Anyway, this is what a final page would look like. And these were like my final submittable pages. But this is the beginning of the process, so yeah. Hopefully, I can show more. I'll talk to my editor. I don't think this is like the most, like, you know, spoilery story in the universe, so hopefully when I'm further along, I can talk about it, show you guys more. Alright, so that's panel 1 done. Panel 2 is gonna be another long vertical panel. Honestly, we should make this. I want these guys to be further back. So I am gonna move them further up the line. Boom. Something like that. Just looking at the script. And we're doing, it's starting to, this wasn't my intention, but it's starting to create a pattern. I don't know if you noticed this, but like, because we're changing scenes every page, I'm getting like a page structure which is like big establishing panel and then long panel after it. And it's just like how it's becoming, you know. I might make this smaller, honestly, something like that. Boom. Hopefully that works. Brian asks, what got you into drawing? Comics. It's so simple. I wrote about this in Secret Heart Attack, my create your own comic. But basically, the first comic I ever read was a beat up graphic novel collection of comics, Crisis of Infinite Earths, with art by George Perez and writing by Marv Wolfman, and it was transformative. Like, I did not know who Superman was or Batman was, so just suddenly like stepping into this world with all these like amazing, interesting, different characters with like, you know, cool costumes and powers and histories that I didn't know about, but they would like obliquely reference here and there, like, oh, this thing happened and that thing happened. It was like a portal into another dimension kind of opened up in front of me, and I was like, wow, like squaring that with the thought that this was just like lines and colors on paper, it's just hugely transformative. And I knew I wanted to make comics already, just reading that. But I think the second point was that, you know, when you're a kid, you always sketch and draw, right? And I have a twin brother, and we would always draw after school on the floor. We would have like copy paper from the hospital that my mom would bring home, and we'd have all our crayons out, and we would just be sketching whatever, right? And I accidentally sketched a Spider-Man drawing. Like, I remember this part vividly. I sketched a Spider-Man drawing, and it looked like Spider-Man. Like, it really looked like Spider-Man somehow. It was just like, you know, something like this. And then I did with crayon like that. And then I did something like that. Like, it looked like Spider-Man. And I remember my twin brother going, "Oh my god, you drew Spider-Man! It looks like Spider-Man!" And I was like, whoa, holy crap, I can draw things. Like, and this is like Spider-Man from the comic that I just read, and I can actually replicate that. And it was so thrilling. And I think I just got addicted to that feeling ever since. You know what I mean? Ever since, I just wanted to draw and be better and go faster and harder. And that's where all of that comes from. Love of comics and realizing that it's actually like not super hard to express what's in your head. All it takes is just some time and dedication. And it may not, 100% look exactly like what you imagined, but if you can accept your limitations and just surrender to the drawing, like, it's so empowering. And that's why I got into drawing. Yeah. Oh wow, the chat is blowing up. I'm gonna try to catch up with this. Blah. Hollow says, "Wait a minute, I remember you now. You are the guy that helped me realize that Procreate can help make my own comics. I mean, I'm not that good, but I am slow and I focus on drawing. But dang, what's up?" Oh, thank you. What's up? Thank you for being here. Yeah, Procreate's great. I'm using it right now. It's my favorite. I think I've mentioned this in other videos. I am currently experimenting with Clip Studio, which I know a lot of people don't like or are mad about right now because it's on the iPad, at least it's subscription based. But you know, a lot of professional artists use it. So and I really like the inking engine. So I'm trying to learn that too. Brian says, I started drawing Ninja Turtles at like 7 years old. Oh, so great. Yeah, Ninja Turtles. That's another one I used to watch a lot and draw a lot. And actually, I think I posted this recently. Where was that? We had like a fan art project where we all got assigned a different Ninja Turtle character. Oh my god, is it gone? I'm so sorry. Is it not here? Come on! It's not here. Anyway, go to my Instagram. I think I pinned it there. It's I drew Baxter Stockman the Fly because, you know, we had a Ninja Turtles trading card project. It was so much fun to do. And we got to pick like, you know, which Ninja Turtle to draw. Or Ninja Turtle character. And I chose Baxter Stockman because I really like the creepy fly design with the little bow tie and the red hair. It was just weird. Him, and obviously my favorite Ninja Turtle is Donatello. I don't know if other people feel that way. I know this is a whole thing, right? Who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? Sound off in the comments. Yeah, I love that. And there's so much cool stuff. I think this week was the release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Black, White, and Green, which is an anthology series where they let like various artists do short stories set in the Ninja Turtles universe. And there's a Declan Shalvey Donatello story, which I really enjoyed. So check that out. Also, like, it's nice to see other people draw the turtles in their own style, because, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. And even in the cartoons, like, you know, from the Eastman and Laird, Frank Miller-ish original style to like the Japanese versions, and there's just a lot. Alright, we'll do that. I need a woman here who's like super distrusting. Wait. Maybe she has glasses. I don't know. Hollows Inc. is a Leonardo person. That's cool. We like Leonardo. He keeps the whole thing together. Did everyone watch the new one? The TMNT, the one that was Mutant Mayhem, I think it was called. Oh my god, I forgot the name. But I thought it was beautiful. And I really liked the voice acting because I felt like for the first time they really sounded like teenagers. You know what I mean? That was really good. The last movie. Yeah, I do feel like with the Turtles, it's like it's like it can be like the Powerpuff Girls too. You know, people ask that, like, which Powerpuff Girl do you like the most? Is it Blossom, Buttercup, or Bubbles? And I'm a Bubbles person, FYI. But with Ninja Turtles also, there's like a whole personality test there, right? I know people who like super glom onto Raphael because the anger is something they really relate to, and you know. But other people are attracted to the freewheeling recklessness of Michelangelo, or just the love of pizza. Who doesn't love pizza? But I like Donatello because he's a techie and he's a nerd, and I'm a bit of both. Alright, we'll do that. This, I don't know if I'm gonna need much background here because there's gonna be like a lot of back and forth letters going on here. So we'll leave that as is. And I think we have 2 panels here at the bottom. And I'm gonna do that. Rider of Karma says, yeah, that's me. I'm a little punk who likes RAF, lol. Awesome. Hollow says, Bubbles is my favorite too. Who doesn't love Bubbles? Bubbles is like joy and light and, you know, the reason for living. You know what I mean? Brian asks, what's your favorite comic you've made? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I love the comic I'm working on at the moment. It just becomes... I know there are artists who, whatever they're working on at the moment, they really hate it, and then like years later they find what they actually like about it and they reassess it. I'm not that type of artist. I'm the type of artist that falls in love with whatever they're working with at the moment. So this one, I guess. I'm also currently working on this Red Thunder comic. I'm so into this. This is great. And I hope, like, most of it's, you can see here, most of it's already kind of laid out. Some of it's fully penciled. There's a bunch of these pages in Clip Studio right now that's sort of like being polished. So I'm working out of order, but this is great. And I guess it would be Secret Heart Attack, this one. This is my autobio comic. It's sort of like a cartoonist autobiography mixed with a superhero crossover, like Avengers Endgame or something like that. So the first issue's already on my website, and I'm building a whole universe with it, and it's so fun. And I guess that's my favorite thing right now. But who knows, right? I'm I'm juggling like a whole bunch of projects right now. And it's a new experience for me because before I've only ever had to focus on maybe one, 2, max 3, right? But right now I'm, you know, because adulthood and things happening, I'm now having to float like 5 things in my brain, 5 major things in my brain, and it's a lot. But I do think one of the side effects of that is that all the projects feed into each other conceptually, and it's kind of like it's very stimulating, you know. So the only thing I'm like worried about is burnout. So I'm trying to pace myself well, so I'm not burnt out. Squishy Style is here. Hey, Squishy Style. Have you made mini comics before? They ask. Yes, I have. My first mini comic was called The Germinator, which I made in high school. Oh, I think I was like 14 or 15 years old, maybe something like that. And I drew it on short bond paper, and then I photocopied it, stapled it into a little comic book, and that was that. I begged my local comic shop to sell it for me. I think I'm gonna skip this. I think it's better if we do something more like this. There we go. As you can see, I'm eyeballing the perspective here. But yeah, I've made a bunch of mini comics in the past, and they're great. They're fun. They're easy to make, which is really helpful, and it also like lets you experience the joy of, you know, having a physical record of your labors and sharing that with someone else. So yeah, I recommend those. If you want to dip your toe into making comics, making many comics is one of the most fun ways to do it, and it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot more satisfying than posting a comic to Instagram or, on a web page. There's just something about having that physical copy, which you can't replace. So I need a person here too. So if this is here and then this is maybe here, I need a person here. So maybe this shot goes like that. Hollows Inc. says, hey, just asking, how do you live stream your iPad screen? Not having your video break on you. Okay, so I assume you're having issues because you're on a PC. Because I used to, when I started this YouTube channel and I first started live streaming, I was on a Windows PC, which was slowly dying during COVID, and I was using streaming software called APowerSoft in order to get it to go. But I would have issues here and there where it would drop out, the signal would drop out, or the software would just hiccup, and it would be a disaster that I would have to rescue midstream, you know what I mean? I don't think I've deleted those streams. You can find them if you just go back, but there's been some drama on these live streams. But now, last year I got myself I replaced my PC with a MacBook, and it's an M2 Max MacBook. And now when I plug a USB cable from the iPad to the MacBook, it actually recognizes it as a video source, and so it does it pretty well. Actually, now that I'm looking at OBS, I don't know if you guys can see the issue here. I'm gotta fix it. Give me a second. Yikes. Okay, so see this iPad screen? It's kind of off a bit. Let's fix that. Yikes. Okay, I think I ruined it. There we go. Let's fix that. I'm sorry, guys. How embarrassing. It's been like this the whole stream. Okay, wait. Let's tweak it just a little bit like that. Just a little like that. There we go. Okay, I think that looks goodish. It's a little off center. No, too much. Okay, there. That's fine. I'm gonna leave it. I must have messed with it when I was setting up the stream. I'm a little embarrassed. But thank you for asking that question, Hollows, because I wouldn't have noticed my issue if you hadn't. Yeah, thank you. I am not the most polished YouTuber in the world, just FYI. Hiccups here and there. I'm really like a cartoonist first, and I just happen to be I just happen to have a YouTube channel that I'm trying to maintain, but I can be a little sloppy sometimes, so really apologies if it's a little rough. But that's the theme of this episode, right? We we do it rough just to get something down, and then we just improve on the fly as we go. And that's I think a healthy way to move forward, because if you spend too long obsessing over perfection, you're not going to really get anything done. Yeah, no, please, Hollows. Anytime you mention, I appreciate it. I do not mind making mistakes. And it's human, It's fine. Thank you for pointing it out. I have one of my number one video on the channel, I think, has horrible audio issues. And I still get comments here and there about like, bro, you gotta get a better mic. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But that's okay, you know. We live, we learn, and you know, mistakes like that help me not repeat it in the future. You know what I mean? Okay, so I think this is a repeating panel, and it has a sight gag, because this is the day before, this is the day after. So I need the structure to be more or less the same, which is why I copy pasted it. There's gonna be a caption here, another caption here, and yeah, there's no dialogue here, so nothing here, and then some dialogue here. Second caption, dialogue, boom, and then dialogue, boom. Something like that. Okay, so that's our third page roughed out. We're gonna jump to the next one. Boom, 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 boom. Oof, and then this is a big one. So this one is a party scene, and I'm gonna need Brian asks, would you rather make comics that everyone loves or get $100 million? Good question. I don't know. Like, do you think making a comic that everyone loves would result inevitably in $100 million? Like, you know, if you ended up making a comic everyone loves, and then it got optioned for a movie, and licensing, and merchandise, and all that stuff, you could potentially stand to earn more than $100 million, right? So maybe that's the choice here. But that's interesting you ask that, because I actually have I had this very similar conversation with some of my coworkers. So I work at an art school, and you know, I work in an office. I do a 9-to-5 job there. And you know, we have a lot of office talk, like water cooler talk. And one time earlier this week, I asked them the $100 million question, which is that if you suddenly got $100 million, you know, a windfall, like you won the lotto or something like that, what would you do with your life? Right? How would you change your life? And you know, I had a friend who said like, I would buy a penthouse, and then I would buy all the stuff for my penthouse, and I would work on furnishing my penthouse, and then every day I would go to the park, and I would go eat at a restaurant, and I would do this or that. And you know, I respect that, but like I couldn't relate to it, because I'm like, wait, that's what you would do with all the money. And for me, I'd be like, you know, if I had that money, I'd want to make comics. I'd want to make more comics. I'd literally find a way to spend more time doing what I love. You know what I mean? Making comics, YouTube with you guys here. I might still work at my job, honestly, because I love that place. I might just lower the hours or something, make it more manageable. But that's what I do. And then if you know, I mean, it's a lot of money, man. Like, I'd probably put it in the trust fund or something. The thing with 100 million is it's at the perfect point between, you basically, you don't want to be a billionaire. I think when you have $1 billion, you start to have a very uncomfortable relationship with the real world, with society, and basically you can't live a normal life anymore. You can't go out, you can't walk out on the street without worrying. You can't take a cab. It's like a little unnerving. You're on certain watch lists already. People are constantly trying to. It's not great. right? But I think like 100 million or like closer to that, you can still be comfortable, but you know, still be able to do normal people things and not be, you know, totally destroyed by power, money, and all that stuff. This is a whole diminishing returns thing. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on the whole topic. But money is money. Like, you know, we all get what we get in this world, and I'm a comic book artist. I have no illusions that I'm gonna have a really super comfortable life, you know, financially. But so the best I can do right now is work hard to do what I love and to help people who I can help along the way, and that's what I want. And if I get $100 million, they say money makes you more of who you already are. So, you know, I'd probably do my best to help people still and all that stuff. So, they say power corrupts, but I don't think that. I think power just makes you more of who you are. And same with money. Money, power, all the same thing. Writer of Karma says, how much visual direction do you like from the writer in the script? Is it better for the writer to stick to brief action descriptions or leave it to your imagination style-wise? It depends. It depends. So, the script I'm working on right now, whoops. You can see there are paragraphs with like a lot of description, and then there are panel descriptions where it's just like a line or two. You know what I mean? It's like, it varies. So it really depends on the moment in the story. And whether that moment requires a lot of visual direction. You know what I mean? They say it's a trust issue, but I don't think it's just that. It really is like the nature of the story and the nature of the visuals required by the story. You know what I mean? So visual direction is one of those things where I feel like it's a case-to-case basis. And obviously there are moments where a writer can over-explain something, and it's like, well, I didn't need all this detail, you know what I mean? You could have just said it in one sentence. But there are equally cases where, you know, a little extra detail would help. I would err on the side of less is more often enough. Sometimes if the dialogue will give me enough clues as to like the emotional state, you don't need to tell me that they're frowning or something like that, or that they're chill or any of that stuff. But less is more, because also for the medium of comics, especially if you're working with a team, like the collaboration hinges so much on being able to trust, you know, to be open to your partner, to let them flex a little, and to give them open room to play, you know. Because that's, I think, what makes art great is when you feel a sense of joy coming from the person making it, and it's not just a functional act. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope that helps. Hollow6 says, having $1 million only brings trouble, honestly. And if you lose that mill, then you're miserable. I'd rather have a beloved comics animation. See? There you go. I'd rather have made something useful. You know, you can't take it with you, guys. We are all gonna disappear from the earth one day. So, you know, money is just a means to an end. At the end, it's like, you know, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to make cool shit? You know, you want to bring something into the world. You want to inspire people. I don't know. You want to make the world a better place. Then you left it behind. Or maybe you just want to live a comfortable life. I don't know. Some people are like that, and I can't, like, you know. Maybe that comfortable life means you just get to make the art you want to make. Right. It's hard. We're in a weird world of, you know, there are a lot of structures in place, governmentally, like, economically, that can make it really difficult to find your space. But I think if we can just try to be kind to each other, try to be helpful, and be opening to listening and helping where we can, I think the world, we can help each other out, basically, and get by. Rider of Karma says, my Lotto dream would be to fund a co-op of traditional animators dedicated to preserving the craft. Oh, that would be so cool! That would be great! Yeah, I dream about those, Walt Stanchfeld and the golden age of Disney, where they had these huge-ass studios full of animators working side by side, desk by desk. That would have been great. They all work traditionally. They're working on cells together. They were shooting the shit. They were reading books. And then during like lunchtime or, the middle of the afternoon, Walt Stanchfeld, one of the legendary Disney animators, he would gather them all together for like a class session. And I loved that. They collected his, he would give these handouts where he would draw explanations of various animation principles, like squash and stretch, push and pull, that type of thing. He would talk about expressions and the importance of bending things and all this stuff. They collected all of that into a wonderful book, which I don't know if I have here. I might have lent it to someone. It's called Drawn to Life. And it's a collection of his lectures, and I think a lot of those lectures, even in today's age of where 3D animation has changed everything, and people are in a different phase, all those principles still matter. But yeah, I would love to join that studio. Rider of Karma. That would be cool. Brian says, did you go to art school? I did. I moved from the Philippines to the US in order to go to this place called the Art Students League of New York, which is my favorite place in the world. It's an art school. It's been around almost 150 years. And I took a traditional painting course. I took it for 4 years. And during that period, I not only did painting, but I did sculpture, I did printmaking, I did mixed media, I did abstract and representational. So I was able to take the full experience. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like art school, how do I say this? I feel like art school is useful as a place to learn a lot of fundamentals, and as a place to try a lot of different things. You know what I mean? It's like the broad area of effect experience of an artist when you are still finding yourself, and so you need to taste a lot of different areas of art to be like, okay, this is what I actually like. You know what I mean? And that's different from the phase I feel like I'm on right now, which is where I'm just really focused on the medium of comics and learning it and trying to get good on this one thing, like the laser focus type phase, right? Where I think, if I can just honor that and be even more focused, I think I will improve in leaps and bounds, more than I ever did in art school. So yeah. Rider of Karma, it must be difficult because you have to be super economical with space. Yeah. I mean, that's part of design. Design is all about using space wisely in a way that is thoughtful but maximizes the real estate that you have. And that's true even in your studio space, how you arrange your working area, and to comics, which is so design heavy because, you know, how are you gonna fit 6 panels on a page, 9 panels on a page, and still give breathing room for every moment described to really sing and tell the story well, right? How do you give room to all the letters and all that stuff? Damus. Hey Damus, welcome to the chat. Damus has a question for all the artists in the chat. As an inker, how do you ask your penciler to provide you with cleaner pencil work without coming off as disrespectful? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Like, I think it really depends on the personality of the artist you're talking to. Some people are open to it. Because some artists are naturally clean. You know what I mean? Like a Frank Whiteley type person, or a Jeff Darrow, right? If you look at their pencil work, pristine, super clean. Jim Chung, who did the Avengers vs. X-Men covers and all that stuff, I've seen his pages in front of me and they are polished. It's like I know exactly where to ink. I know exactly how thick or thin the lines need to be. But some artists are a lot looser, and you know, I guess you just gotta roll with it as an inker. Part of it is like, you know, back in the day when comics, you know, in the 70s especially, 60s, 70s, maybe the early 80s, inkers had a bigger role in the comics industry because they were also finishers. They would get like the roughest drawings from Jack Kirby, John Buscema, or whatever, like very lightly done, and they would polish the heck out of it. And so you have people like Kevin Nowlan, who you should really look at if you're an inker, amazing inker, who would like polish things up in a very distinct way. And then you have people like Klaus Janson, who also cleans things up, but he's like a more rough style artist. And his inking style was chunkier, right? Bill Sienkiewicz inking is also like a lot chunkier. And maybe if you're working with something that's just a little too rough, maybe you need to shift your inking style to mimic the roughness of the art you're getting. I think that might be healthier rather than stressing super hard about, like, you know, making it as clean and polished as you might pencil your own stuff. I don't know. Just my 2 cents. The chat is so fun right now. Yeah, thank you guys for chiming in with your thoughts. This is a tricky topic. I don't think there's an easy answer to this, because this is like, it's a social problem. You know what I mean? How do you communicate something awkward like that to your fellow artist, right? That you're trying to work with, and you know, that you're trying to build a good rapport with. Like, honestly, I wouldn't advise just shouting at them. That's because some people do that, and you may sometimes have the impulse to do that. Like, try to communicate calmly. That's one thing I'd say. Yeah, when I haven't worked with an inker yet. I think the norm these days, like unlike the 70s or 80s as I was talking about, the norm these days now is for artists, a lot of artists, to ink themselves. So inkers have been getting less and less work, which is really sad. And you know, I ink myself, I color my own stuff. So, and I was hired, several projects I've been hired to do that. Um, so I don't know. I would speak to an inker. Walden Wong is one. He's here on YouTube, and I think he's on Instagram. So maybe ask him that question. He might be able to give you some tips. But yeah, inkers are I feel like there's less and less of them these days, and professional inkers, you know, who make a living out of inking. And so it's tough. Whoa, the chat really blew up. Brian says I have to go. Bye, I might come back. Okay, see you, Brian. Thank you for popping by. Vincent Sanchez, welcome to the stream. Wait. I'm gonna get these questions one at a time. Vincent Sanchez asks, what is your favorite comic book character? Oh man, Vincent, it changes. Depending on what I'm reading or what I'm into at the moment. You could narrow it down, like, right now, I've been reading a lot of Kurt Swan comics and a lot of Superman comics in general, because that's influencing the Red Thunder comic I'm doing. Both Superman and Shazam. And so I really love Superman. You know, that's one of the characters I'm in. Really. One of my favorite X-Men. My favorite X-Men is Professor X. No one ever says that, but that's my favorite. Because I like him because he's like a guy with big ideas that nobody understands. And then he just tries his best to communicate it. And he's also cool because he is a superhero with a supervillain power, right? His whole thing is like his brain was designed to mind control others, and that's evil. But he's trying to use it for good. So I like Professor X a lot. But it changes every week. I love the characters I'm drawing, you know. I love this character in the middle who I'm drawing right now. I don't know if you can guess who she is, but she's a DC character. And I can't say. But she's cool. And it's been fun sort of going into her background and researching her and trying to figure out what makes her tick. Because I actually had never drawn her before I got assigned the story, and it's a real pleasure. Blad Lazo, hey Blad, what's up? Blad says, could you tell me what is all about the comic Red Thunder? Is it a spin-off? Is it part of Secret Heart Attack? When could we read it? Sorry, I'm a little disconnected. So Red Thunder is part of Secret Heart Attack. It is it looks and smells and feels like a standalone story, like an adventure all on its own. And it's designed to sort of be an interesting side entryway into Secret Heart Attack. But if you're thinking of the final graphic novel, Red Thunder will be a part of that. So think of it as like a weird side chapter. But it all goes back into the main story in the end. So just, you know. I like to think of it, so issue 1 of Secret Heart Attack already came out, and it's on my website, and it's in various comic book stores here in New York City. But issue 2, which I'm still working on, and I'm roughly halfway done. It's hard because it's growing, it's getting bigger and bigger. But I'd like to think of Red Thunder as Secret Heart Attack 1.5. If that helps. Because at the end of Secret Heart Attack number 1, you see Red Thunder sort of come out of this portal in the multiverse, in the Eververse, right? And then suddenly you're in this like back chapter where you learn a little bit about who he is, what makes him tick, what makes him different from like Superman or Shazam or these other you know, dad type archetype super people. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Damus says, I love being an inker. I feel you, man. Like, it's... I mean, I love inking my own stuff, I always go back to, I don't know if you've read, there's a book called Will Eisner Frank Miller Conversations, and it's literally them in Will Eisner and Frank Miller in Eisner's studio talking about the craft of comics every chapter, and they're talking like about like other classic artists that they love and people who inspired them, and they're talking shop, like the process of penciling their work. And it's so interesting because when you get to the chapter on inking, Frank Miller just like starts off with a big statement. He says, inking is sexy. And then Eisner's like, I agree with that. Inking is sexy. And then Miller goes on to expound about how there's nothing quite like the feeling of like a brush going over the pencil line and making something that may be a little foggy or incomplete suddenly like concrete and real and palpable. And it's great. It's such a good feeling. I recommend reading that book because that's fun. I think I have it here somewhere there. I haven't fixed my bookcase yet. So those of you who watched my studio my comic artist studio showcase know that my books are all in this giant disorganized mess right now, which I just need to get around to fixing. But I have a lot of books I really like. I had to give away some while I was moving. It sucks. The editor takes the place to talk with the penciler in the best case scenario. Yeah, Jose says, you know, in the best case scenario with the inking problem, right? It's good to have an editor. But yeah, that's the other problem. You know, there was a time when editors in comics were artists, people like Dan Raspler and stuff, and they would actually give notes to train up artists. But that changed in like the late 70s, I think. And now comic book editors tend to just be people with writing backgrounds. So you get less guidance in terms of the art. Which also kind of sucks. But, you know, I'm sure everyone's trying their best. It's just the tenor of things has changed. So it's, I guess what I'm saying is, like, a modern editor, someone who's like more writing oriented, may not be able to have that conversation comfortably with your penciler, and it might have to be you ultimately who still has to talk that out, if that makes any sense. Damus says the hard thing about being an inker is that you're competing for work against other people who do it all for either the same page rate as you or even less. Lol. I agree. But hey, I would say that's the hard thing about being a letterer or a colorist too, or even a penciler. Like, page rates are a thing, you know. Oh my god, I want to share with you guys. Someone posted something about page rates, which you should know if you're trying to get into the biz, you know. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it here for you guys. Gosh. Sorry for the lull, but I think this is important for some of you who are trying to get in, so see if I can get it up. I think it was Comic Book Pros? Wait, I know what to do. I can find it. It's here on my phone somewhere. Here we go. Okay, so follow at cartoonist co-op. That's their name on Instagram. They have a recent post that lays out page rates, right? And it's got page rates for pencilers, inkers, and pencilers, inkers, colorists, letterers, all that stuff. So I would totally like look that up just for your reference, so you can get a sense of. And I bet that page rate is just for the US sort of like mass market industry, but like, you know, it's still useful to have a peg as to like what things cost, so that when you're negotiating and people ask you for a page rate, you have something in mind. Yeah. Oh boy, how long have I been streaming? I think I have to like wrap up soon. All right, so we have we have officially gone over the 1 hour mark, guys. And I'm trying to, I usually try to keep these to under an hour, so I'm gonna wrap up in 10 minutes, okay? Just FYI, so you can pace yourselves. Vu Nguyen, hello, welcome to the stream. Oh my god, Eric Canetti is here, guys! One of my favorite artists! Hello, Eric. Oh my god, thank you so much, Eric. You were making my day. I'm gonna cry. Guys, Eric Canetti is a brilliant comic book artist. He's worked a lot in animation. Might have seen his stuff in Men in Black, in Ghostbusters, freaking Aeon Flux. And he has also all these awesome comics. So please go follow him on social media. Check him out. He's one of my favorite artists and a huge inspiration. And also check out Ink Pulp Podcast. I just started watching it this past 2 weeks and I'm so addicted to it. It's a great podcast for those of you who are looking for inspiration and real talk from people who are working in the industry, and they're big artists in there. Apart from Eric, Mateo Scalera's there, and they had one with Jim Mahfood, and it's really fun. So yeah, check that out. Thank you for being here, Eric. You're an inspiration. I really appreciate you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Kayla Garrett says, are you thinking about getting one of the new iPads for Apple Pencil Pro features? As a digital artist, I'm having a hard time deciding. So Kayla, I'm planning to get the new M4. So when they released the so I'm working on an M1 iPad Pro right now, and this has been my main baby for the past, 2 years or whatever. Like, all my DC stuff has been going through here. Secret Heart Attack, I did all of that on this iPad. So but when the M2 came out, I bought it and I reviewed it, and then I ended up returning it after like 2 weeks because I felt like the upgrade wasn't good enough. It was good. It's a good, it was a fantastic iPad. It's just that I feel like for the price that you're paying, you really need to get like a substantial amount of new features to justify the price. You know what I mean? So what I did was I ordered the M4 iPad Pro, and I'm gonna put it through its paces. It's gonna arrive this coming Wednesday, and if I have extra time, I definitely want to review it for YouTube, and I'm gonna see if it's worth the money, because honestly, like, it's expensive. It's going like towards I think you can go over $3,000, 3,000 something if you're adding the Apple Pencil Pro and then the new aluminum Magic Keyboard. So that's crazy. So it really has to feel like it's worth the money for me, Otherwise, I would recommend something else. Anyway, stay tuned. I'm gonna review it, and then I'll let you guys know if it's worth jumping this time. I'm really excited for that barrel roll feature, though. I feel like people who love to to do inking, like croquill style inking, or like people who use like the flat brush for inking, oh my god, the cool like little strokes you can get probably from that on the iPad would be great. We'll see. To be decided, to be continued. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. I'm just so happy, Eric Canetti, for the support. Thank you so much for being here. Just moved. I'm deeply moved. Jose M. Zapata says, I think that nowadays being an inker is an intermediate step to enter this industry as a penciler, a way to improve even if you know how to draw. I don't know. I feel like it's the same. It could be the same as like with flatting. You know how some people get into the coloring biz as flatters? They just basically do flat shapes for more seasoned professional colorists to render over, and it's just a way in to make contacts and to get a sense of the industry. You could look at it that way. You know what I mean? I know people who just love inking and want to be inkers, and that's their only thing. So it really depends on you. I think it ultimately depends on the type of artist you want to be, right? Like there are people who are happy to play piano in an ensemble, but there are people who really like are they've been bitten by the bug of like making music and creating things. So they just they need to not just play piano, they need to compose music, they need to create things. It's like artists also who draw for years and years and they build a reputation on that, but actually they're fantastic writers, like Daniel Warren Johnson. Actually that's not true, he was writing from the start. James Harren maybe is a good one. And then you realize, oh wow, they have all these stories in them, but they were drawing other people's stories for a long time. So I don't know. I think you just have to figure out what you want to do and who you want to be, and slowly and surely progress your way there if you can, right? Hollow says, can't wait for a new iPad Pro review. Not gonna lie, I'm nervous about what's actually in there. If it ends up as good as my own M1 iPad Pro, I'm gonna keep what I have. That's what I'm saying. If it ends up not as good as M1, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the big thing with the new iPad is gonna be that Apple Pencil Pro. Like, is it worth it? Because the barrel roll, is that worth it? Is the squeeze gesture worth it? I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this entire stream, every so often I erase into a line here and there. I've been activating that with the double tap feature, which I know a lot of people hate and they turn it off because they keep accidentally activating it. But I love it and I use it, and I've trained myself to use it well. And so I'm curious if the squeeze gesture is going to be as useful as that double tap feature has been for me. We'll see. Yeah, to be decided. We'll find out on Wednesday, moment of truth. And if you want to get like an early preview, make sure to watch my Instagram stories because I'm constantly posting shit to that. Like, if you want to see like the unfiltered like early reaction, I'm probably gonna post it on IG. Zian Van Week, welcome. Bro, I want to make my own comic, but I can't draw very well. I hear you and I feel you, Zian. But I say make a comic to the best of your current ability. And then make another comic to the best of your current ability. And I think you'll get better and better as you go. My feeling is like, I mourn all the comics lost to time because a lot of people were too afraid to tell their story because it didn't look perfect. You know what I mean? And I think of comics like XKCD. XKCD. It's you can find it online. XKCD. Literally the whole comic is stick figures all the time, every day, with little hats or like, girls who are drawn like this. And I suspect you can draw better than that. And if you can draw better than that, like XKCD is a freaking successful comic because it carries itself on its own story, and it knows how to work with the art that it can make, and it does its best with what it has. So yeah, I really recommend Xian to just start telling your own things to your best of your ability, and you'll see as you go, just you'll improve as you make things. That's just the way it is, Rider of Karma says, honestly, it'll probably be battery going. That switches me off the M1 iPad Pro eventually. Wish we could replace those. I get the point. Yeah. Working on a PC stylus with physical buttons, not my iPencil. Damas gave me a follow. Thank you so much for the follow, Damas. I really appreciate it. Kayla Garrett says, I use it a lot. That's why I think I need the squeeze gestures. Yeah, I use the tap feature a lot too. Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I feel like all the YouTube reviews are like, I hate the tap feature. I freaking use it all the time. I love it. So we'll see. Alright, it is almost 1 p.m. guys, and this has been a roller coaster ride of a stream. I am like humbled by everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna try to stream again in about a week, maybe Wednesday night or Sunday morning. We'll see as my schedule takes. But I'm really in deadline crunch time, so yeah, stay tuned for updates. Follow me on IG. I'm gonna post there always first to tell people if I'm gonna stream. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. Good luck with everything you're doing, and stay inspired and keep making your comics. Yeah. Have a great one. Peace. One sec. And now it's awkward waiting for how to turn off OBS. There we go. All right.